I just wonder how difficult it is to negotiate, Bertie, with the UK, who say black is white and white is black. I mean, Brandon Lewis, for example, said this did breach international law in a very specific and limited way. Now he's saying it doesn't breach international law. I mean, how difficult is that?
I'm the first to admit there probably are issues in the protocol that create difficulties for business. But that's not what the British government are trying to do. They're not trying to fix things. They're trying to say, listen, we shouldn't probably never have done this in the first place. We shouldn't have agreed the protocol. But a question that I don't hear answered in Northern Ireland, you know, by those who are against the protocol, do they want to be in the single market? If they do want to be in the single market, you have to accept that there's going to be checks. Not a border down the Irish Sea, but checks. And I'm afraid the bona fides of why the British government would even go down this road they are questionable.
So you do think the EU should respond, that they do need to retaliate at this point? Exactly what should they do?
They won't pull out of the whole issue. I think the trade agreement, they want to have good relationships with Britain, but they will look at areas where there will be a meaningful punishment to the British government. It's within their power to select those. And I'd be amazed if they don't do that. I hope they don't decide to say we won't do anything until the legislation is passed, because, well, first of all, I hope the legislation is never passed. Hopefully the House of Lords and Theresa May and others who understand these things in the British House of Parliament will fight against that. But I think they have to respond in a meaningful way, that the British know that they can't be rolled over time again. You
mentioned Theresa May there. Do you think there's enough Tories who fear the reputational risk of this bill to ultimately oppose it?
Well, I'd hope, and so far as my voice means anything, I'd appeal to those in Westminster who understand, and there's a lot of them, who understand what the Good Friday Agreement is, who understand what the protocol is, understand what peace in Northern Ireland is, that they will stand up and speak out. But, you know, we have to be mindful that within the Tory party, there's my great friend Rees-Mogg, who I've crossed lines with a number of times when I went to the Brexit committee and I went to the Parliament to point out a lot of the difficulties back over the last 5 years. There is Lord Frost, who is on another planet, and you know, so these are difficult people, and they're pro-Brexit, anti-protocol. You know, their support for the Good Friday Agreement is question mark. So, you know, this is a battle within the Tory party, and I'd like to see that battle take place on this issue.
Where does this all leave the DUP? Have they backed themselves into a wall, do you think, Bertie?
I don't think it's in their long-term interests to find themselves with Tories that want a hardline Brexit. And that ultimately, and this is the big danger, ultimately could see Northern Ireland out of the single market. I mean, you know, what right-minded politician would want to see that as an end result? I certainly wouldn't like to see it happen.
And finally, Bertie, I suppose when you left office, relations with the UK were pretty good, very good, some might say. Now we've heard that they're at an all-time low. Does this sadden you?
Yeah, I am saddened by that because I think through Theresa May, I mean, she came after my time, but, you know, Major, Blair, Brown, even back to Thatcher days, you know, there could be discussions at official level, even if they weren't always the greatest otherwise. But it's not me saying it. I mean, ministers after minister, Taoiseach, Taoiseach, have all said that relationships are at a very low ebb. And I think the Irish government have been right. The Irish government have played it fair. And the British government have just said, no, this is not the game. And as I understand it, the relationship at official level is no better.
And you mentioned the word game. Is that what this is all about for Boris?
Yeah, I mean, Boris last week, a week ago, had to win a leadership vote. That morning, the vote was called, rather surprisingly, overnight. And Rees-Mogg came out, you know, battling very hard. As soon as I saw that, You didn't have to be a political expert to work out that that meant that there had been an understanding with the European Research Group that he was going to play ball, that he was going to bring out this legislation, and that they were on side and they'd vote for him. No doubt about it. He had said, listen, I bring out the legislation in a week, and he has.
The game.
That's it. And he's in the job, and that's what it's about. And he knows he knows the risk, and like he knows he entered into an international agreement 2 years ago, and he's now breaking it. And you know, if that makes him happy, he's in the job, and an international agreement is broken. Well, that's a sad day, isn't it?